everyone, it's Kerilie McDowall from Canadian Online Guitar Lessons. How's it going? I hope you enjoyed the Christmas videos to get you started on some great ideas and some free lessons to get you going, and with really some of the most basic chords there are on guitar for those 3-note little voicings of chords, the little chords to get you started with strumming, with downstrokes, just to kind of get used to the idea of playing and reading through and getting through a chord chart. Often with those songs I was only taking you through 1 or 2 verses because all the verses had the same melodies and the same choruses, so they were just, the sounds of them were just repeating over and over again with different words. So really great way to get started with learning music, Christmas carols. Another way for beginners to get going is, even if you're an adult, is nursery rhymes, because often these are songs you know it when you play a wrong note that the note is wrong. Same with a chord, right? So this is why it's really good to start with such very simple things at the very, very outset, and then you can progress to more complex and some of your more popular favorite songs once you get past that little phase. So listen, I want to talk about some fun chords today. Different chord sounds that I thought you might like to take a gander into. And I also want to talk about embellishments. We were talking about this in one of the groups that I'm in online on Facebook, and there was a confused student that didn't really know quite how to approach embellishments. So I thought, well, that's an interesting way of phrasing it, embellishments. And that's what they are, so we'll talk about that too, okay? So first I want to play a really nice chord called the E7 plus minor 9 chord. So just gonna adjust these tones here for you. You can hear it a bit better now. So, right? So that E7 plus minor 9 is a really, really nice sound, just to kind of beef things up if you're playing a dominant chord or a 5 chord. For some of you that are more advanced with music, you may already be referring to your chords as 1-4-5s and 1-6-2-5s and all of that, just as a short form between you and your bandmates, or as you learn, So of course the 5 chord is a very important sound. It's a moving sound that usually resolves to the 1, to the tonic, to that root chord, right? And so in the key of A, you would have the E7 plus 9. Normally it would be a minor. But the great thing about alterations like that is they can be moved around into different systems sometimes, based upon how the melody is functioning and different things like that. So that's the exciting thing about music. It's malleable, right? And that's the great thing about jazz too. You can really use your ear to really take advantage of some of those aspects of playing. So that was the E7 plus minor 9 chord, sharp 9 chord that we hear in a song like Purple Haze by Jimi Hendrix, right? And then I thought, well, since we're on the topic of 5 chords, and I just showed you the E7 plus minor 9 chord, well, how about I show you like a really fun blues chord sound that's like, it's an E7 sound, right? But it's kind of a bit hipper. Check this out. So let me just take this. I want to take this into a different key because that's kind of out of range. I'm going to put it in, we're going to give you an A7, right? So in the key of D, okay? So hang on. Right? So can you see that, what I'm doing? I just want to show you. So this is the chord here. Can you see that? So I'm on G, B, and E with the A there. Right, so it's really kind of like that G7, that 7th, and the B, which is a 9th of the A, and then that E is that 5th. So you don't even really have a 3rd to really define the chord there which is kind of nice, meaning you could use it in a major or a minor application, possibly, depending how you approached it, right? So I really like that sound too, right? And here's a nice way to use it as kind of like a shuffle. Well, just this kind of rhythm. That was up. I can try a sort of retone, right? This is a common sound. Okay, now we'll sign that up to a tone, okay? Here's the semitone. Now we're going to approach it from the bottom, right? Right. So those are just some ways to kind of get some embellishments happening with chords, passing chords, right? So, or chords that you're using chromatically like that, or just moving them around to get some really great sounds. So that's a kind of an example, but like we're going to talk about embellishments in a moment. I just want to talk about some fun chords at first. So another way to get some really nice sounds is to think of what we call cluster chords, where we have often a semitone that's really kind of emphasized within the chord. And so I just want to give you an example of that. Like, so in an A minor chord, A, C, E, G, for you people that already know a bit of theory, well, what if you took the B in that A minor chord and paired it close to that C to give that minor second interval kind of an emphasis, and you get it to sound like this. It's a pretty sound, right? Let me find another one for you here. Let me just think a moment. Wait a minute, hang on. Yeah, this one. Right, and give that the fourth there. There's the minor third. So here's the A minor sound. Here's another one. So that's just to get you started on some different kind of concepts with maybe some different sounds to kind of spice up your chords if you're a more advanced player, because I just wanted to get out some little tips for maybe more advanced players and people that are aspiring to be a bit more advanced. Another thing that I just thought of there was some suspended sounds, right? Those are really nice to play, and you know, there's really very gifted female guitarists that did a lot of that. Someone we know who's really quite the goddess in music, her name is Joni Mitchell, and so she used to do a lot of really brilliant voicings like that, special tunings with her guitar. That's something else that you may like to explore, tuning your guitar to certain chords or certain sort of interesting sounds, and you can get a really great effect doing that. As also using a capo, you can get really nice upper register sounds and really nice sounds that way, and also adjust to your voice if you're needing to match your key, or if it's out of range, or you just want to get it into a better range for yourself, right? So, but here's some ideas for some sus sounds. So I'll play first like just an E minor. Here's a popular E minor that I showed you in one of those videos from before. Right, that's a very common E minor chord in guitar. And then I showed you that suspended sound. That's a really nice sound. Well, what if I played that E minor with an A? So that's the fourth that I'm playing for that suspended sound. But the other thing that you could do with that sound would be to play the F sharp, which would be the second, right? So look at this. So here's the E and here's the F sharp, right? So I showed you something similar like that before, but I'm going to add the in the A now, so the second and the fourth. So that's just a way to explore different sounds by adding a ninth or a fourth sound, and you can often resolve it to the third if you want. You don't always have to. You can keep that sound sounding suspended like it's moving. Same with dominant chords. You can keep them moving, and then, you know, when you're ready, resolve them and give it that nice strong tonic feel or some sort of resolution. You know, that's if you're playing regular tonal music, because of course if you're playing avant-garde music it might not resolve, right? So it just depends really on the style of music that you're playing. So yeah, I wanted to talk about some of those things. So did we do it in major? I don't think we did. So let's just try it in a major sound, right? Here's a popular D chord. You know this chord, right? The triangle that I was talking about before, right? Right? Can you see that? I think you know that D if you're kind of more intermediate player. Well, what if you added that G, that fourth to it? That's a very popular sound. Okay, so there's the fourth, third, second, it's actually the ninth, back to the third. So I'm going G, F sharp, E, F sharp. So then that D is our tonic, right? There's the fifth, there's the octave, there's the third, the 10th, there's the fourth or the 11th, there's the 9th. Okay, so those are just some sounds you can play with that are very popular to play with in folk music and popular styles of music. Okay, so I'm hoping that you're getting something out of this. Now let me just see how you could do that with an A chord. So here's an A chord. All right, so let's try it with maybe a C, right? Right, there's so much you can do with this. Let's bring it up into a different inversion. Let's just bring it up here somewhere. Maybe like a C here. C, so it's G, C, and E. So how would we do that, right? We would add that fourth, right? And then D in a different position, right? And now I'm not saying that you have to do it in that order or anything. There's just so much you can do with that. Like, look at this. Oh, that's really nice. Look at how nice that is. That sound. Ooh, that's really. And you know, you may want to explore sounds like that. You may think, well, you know, some of my favorite artists use a lot of mystery in their music. Personally, I find that with myself. Some of my most favorite avant-garde artists use this incredible approach to dissonance and resolution and consonance, and that's quite mysterious at times, and very subtle and very fascinating. A lot of suspense, you know. So as an artist or as a musician or even an aspiring musician or composer or songwriter, you can use a lot of those effects in your songwriting to really draw the listener in, you know, with those quieter sounds to create a bit of intensity or kind of intrigue or nuance, you know. The suspended sounds with the 9ths and the 4ths and, you know, 13ths even, you know, have a lot of fun with that, you know. And you may even want to add a sharp 4. Look at this. Like, so here's a nice sharp 4. Right? But it has a beautiful sound in the chordal aspect, like of a C Lydian, right? That F sharp. So I added the 4th back in, the regular 4th. Here's the sharp 4. Fa, mi, re, do, fi, mi, re, do. Right? So they're different sounds, but they get like that sound of the sharp 11 is like a nice way to end a nice jazz song on a major sound, but it's also a moving sound that's quite pretty to use as a substitution for or as a moving aspect of a tonic chord, right? So there's lots of things you can do. That it's just a never ending what you can do to explore. And so now we're at 15 minutes. So I think I'll take this up a little further into the embellishment realm now. So let's just talk a bit about that. Okay, you know, my main kind of way of approaching playing has been as well, I first started off playing a lot of pop music and then folk music and a bit of reggae and blues and stuff like that. And then I moved into kind of really a real intense focus on jazz for a long time. Really loved jazz, right? So went for that. But before that, I had really looked really quite seriously at classical guitar for a while. And for a while, I thought that was where I was going to put my focus until I really got taken away with the composing and songwriting aspect of being a musician, right? So I just want to talk about embellishments because, and what I'm going to be talking about is melodic embellishments, not chordal so much, though we did cover a couple of those at the beginning. So melodic embellishments, right? So let's say you were going to play a blues song or something like that. So I already showed you that neat way of playing A7 down here, right? Right, so an embellishment on that would be playing something like an A minor pentatonic scale and bending a note, right? Right, so here we go. So what I'm doing there is I'm doing a vibrato. So that's a type of embellishment, right? And I'm kind of slightly bending that note. Just slightly. Now we can bend the notes a lot more. So you could bend it up and just with your finger, or you could pick it, right? Or you could bend it quite high, like almost up a whole tone. You see my eyebrows go up when I do it. It's just so guitar-like. But so you can see that there's different ways of approaching that. Right now, I just want to show you about using a semitone as an embellishment, right? Almost like a grace note. Or a passing note. Like a D to a C. I'm playing D, C, A, A. Now I'm playing C sharp to C. Messing around with that third, right? So there's all kinds of ways you can approach like semitones and using them as embellishments, like on different notes of the scale. So if, let's say you were playing an A minor pentatonic, because I'm guessing you know that this is this, right? You know that by now, right? I guess you would. So what if we were just gonna start playing some passing tones, just, you know, using that scale. So let me show you that. Right? So that's just making something up. Like, that was just totally random, right? But as you can see, just adding in those tones, right? Those passing tones really added quite a lot of interest there and gave the melodic line a lot more color, right? So that's, you can think of yourself as almost like as a musical colorist, where you're using timbres or sound shapes and sound colors, almost like a visual artist, you know, a little bit of here, a little bit of there, a little bit of pink up here, a little bit of green or purple, whatever your favorite colors, or blue, whatever. Some musicians actually see tones of music in color. That's a very special gift that some wonderful musicians have. One of my favorite mentors, Bill Westcott, had that gift. Amazing photographic memory. So, you know, people have different gifts within their kind of, I don't know, artist sort of palette, if you want to say. Every musician is unique and has different strengths and weaknesses. So I just want to talk about some of those chromatic notes here. So what if I was playing A minor, right? And what if I added in that major third from the minor third? Now, I'm not really liking that. I'm thinking I would like to play the major third up to the fourth, and then maybe down to the minor third, and then the rest of the arpeggio. So, right? So that's a pretty popular sound, right? But you know, if you, this is the other thing, you know, coming up with your own vocabulary and your own types of sounds that you're using as part of your own way of how you hear through music with your own ear can be really beautiful. Like people are fascinated with uniqueness within music and an artist's real voice, right? So I also have been anyway, as a, you know, a radio host and a television host, people that I was working with or interviewing or performing with when I was performing. So I guess I'll just talk a bit more about these great ways of adding embellishments just with chromatic notes, you know. So let's talk about the ninth. So here's the A minor arpeggio. Making stuff up, right? So, and you know, a lot of those sounds are more blues oriented, right? Kind of bluesy, you know. Maybe not like B.B. King. B.B. King's like, you know, kind of like, maybe not like that, but like a shuffle or something, like I'm just thinking of a way that a really great guitarist named Buzz Upshaw used to play Caledonia. How did he used to do that? I can't remember what key he was in, but he used to take that really super fast, that Caledonia. Really super fast, you know, and Jeff Healey used to come to those jam sessions and blow everybody away. Like, he was just fantastic, too. And Buzz was sort of like an older player that everyone looked up to. Very wonderful, big guy, big, fantastic guitar player, just with a lot of soul and a lot of chops, totally into the Chicago blues. So, you know, I was really lucky in that I kind of had him as a mentor when I was really quite young, like maybe, I don't know, 14 or 15. I used to go to these family jams where, you know, everyone could go and play music as a family kind of environment at this wonderful restaurant. And yeah, Buzz Upshaw was there with and so I don't know if Jeff Healey ever stopped by that club, but he was at other clubs, and Buzz would be there, and it was kind of like they would kind of war with each other, you know, with their guitars, and it was really quite amazing. And both of them were just brilliant, of course, right? So, but I just want to talk a bit about jazz, because, you know, how would we use an embellishment, you know, chromatic notes maybe in jazz or something like that, right? So often, you know, maybe with a ninth or a third. Right? Like, there's just all kinds of ways you can get through lines. You know, you can go up, you can go down, you can go up a tone, you can go up a semitone, you can slide up to a semitone. So it's sliding up to it. Slide down. Right? So bend up. Right? Or bend down. Bend up. Right? So those sounds, right? very common sound. So did we talk about grace notes? Not so much. Those are often slurred from a higher note to like a tone down or from a semitone down. So look at this. Right? They're often what we call a hammer off. This is a hammer off. See how I pull my finger off to the side? And like I'm just pulling it off to the side as I play with my pick, right? So that's called a hammer off, and now a hammer on, right? It's like literally like you're putting your finger down like a hammer. You don't have to kill yourself, just a bit of a hammer. You don't have to press as hard as you can or anything like that. And then like just press to the side here. You just pull it off to the side, right? So there's let me think. Well, there's just all kinds of ways you could use that as a nice sound. Let me just think of something that I like here. Make stuff up pretty much, you know, like you just hear your way through it. You may have like an intellectual idea, but generally speaking, like these are more intellectual ideas. I'm just trying to get you through some ideas here. But what I would always really emphasize that you do is just really focus on what you hear. So try and hear your way through the notes, you know, like get to know your major scale, like do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, right? Memorize that in all the keys, you know, get to know it in all the keys, like from A going all the way up to like B, you know, and C, you know, A sharp or B flat, right? B, and then C. There's no flat or sharp between B and C usually, okay? There just isn't. It's just how it is. And then C to C sharp or C to D flat, and then D or D sharp to E, right? Then E to F, there's no semitone in between there. Like there's no sharp or flat in between E and F, between those two semitones. And then F to F sharp, right? Or F to G flat, or down from G to G flat, or rather, right? Now F sharp to G, now you're going G to G sharp or A to A flat, all right? And then you're going A to A sharp or B to B flat. You usually go down that way. And then A to A sharp to B to C. Okay, so those are just kinds of ways of thinking through when you're using those notes, and then maybe applying them, you know, as you go through different sort of sounds. So let me see, like something like I don't know. Yeah. Right, so for something like that, more of a modal sound, a song like Wayne Shorter's Footprints, you know, you would be playing C minor on that, right? Right? So you'd be playing like maybe a C minor pentatonic even. Right? Right? You don't even have to play the third and the fifth. Like I kind of ended that phrase on the, I think on the 9th or something. Actually, that's the 13th. So I ended on the 13th, right? Right? That's the A. So, you know, there's all kinds of ways to get through melodies and to kind of embellish different notes. And I just wanted to get you started on some of those ideas. Bending notes, you know, the grace notes, the trill, like in you know, here's a famous one. Right? Right, so it's something like the Doors, right? Love Me Two Times. That's a popular, very well-known trill there, right? That G to G sharp. And it's also used in blues sometimes. Right? Or maybe more like a vibrato. Right? So you see how I'm moving the note? Like I'm literally moving my finger, right? No, that's kind of exaggerated. Usually we just move it a little bit. Right? It's usually not so exaggerated. Actually, if you were really going to use really exaggerated vibrato, you may even want to use a tremolo or something like on your amplifier. It's an effect. Or even, you know, one of the old school tremolos on a semi-acoustic electric or something like that. You know, have a lot of fun with those sounds. One thing you do have to realize that if you're going to use the whammy bar or the tremolo bar, however you want to phrase that, or whatever, however you want to approach that, you have to realize that your guitar may go out of tune after using that. Right? And so I know that my guitar is really quite out of tune right now. So for you to match my guitar right now, I think you're probably going to have to tune down a little. Because, you know, I've been playing with the fireplace on the past couple of days, and so my guitar has dropped, right? And just realize, yeah, for sure, you know, like heat can affect your guitar, as can the cold, you know, so you're always going to want to be messing around with your tuning. So if you want to match me exactly and get my exact notes, I can give you some notes to tune to. Here's my E, my B, my G, my D, my A, and my E. Right, but I'm slightly off, right? I know that because I've been tuning other people's guitars that are my students, and I know my guitar's a little off, but I just wanted to get you started on some of those ideas and get you thinking about different ways of approaching embellishments and kind of maybe a few ideas for chords, and just get you started in some of that fun stuff, you know, and just so you can kind of get exploring. And what I would tell you to do is, you know, take one of your favorite songs and lay down the chords, you know, lay them all down, like go through the entire song, have all those chords down, just improvise the rhythms through and get a good sound happening. And then, you know, record that on your phone and then start experimenting with improvising. Play it back on your phone and start soloing on top of the chords, right? And start maybe thinking of melodies to play on top of the chords. Like maybe even write a song, you know, like a melody or something like that. That's another thing you can do with your phone, is just kind of like completely just start from zero and just start singing into your phone or playing into your phone and just coming up with really great ideas. And just putting them into your phone. And, you know, I know of composers that will do that. They'll just put like little melodic fragments into their phone, and then when they feel like composing, they just go into their phone and find something they like, and they start working with it and messing around with it and developing it. And that's the thing, you just take a little like, let's just take a seed idea. So here's one note, A. Right? So you can mess around, right? So A, G, A, G, A, G, A. That's just with a couple of notes, right? So I'm going to add the minor third now. Stuff up, right? And so I just want you to start exploring making stuff up, kind of having fun with notes, jamming with yourself a bit, and just starting a bit with that and just playing with it. And so I think I'm going to end now and just tell you to play it, right? Just go through it and have a little game with yourself and just see how far you can take these ideas and have fun. You know, the whole point, like as I've said before, is to enjoy the guitar and have fun. And, you know, when you're ready, you can start jamming with other musicians. Once you're able to start laying those chords down and soloing on top of them and stuff like that, and you have the concept of what a key is, and you know what the other musicians are going to play as far as chords are going, well, then you can go to a jam and actually play that song and jam with some musicians. Now, what I would tell you to do is, like, if you know the guys at the jam, is find out what keys they're playing songs in, like, especially blues, because often people will play the blues to jam on. So, you know, you kind of need to know if their singer's key is in E or A, or what the singer's key is in, because then you'll have a better idea of what keys to learn if you're new to the guitar, or if you don't know all your keys yet. And then you can just start messing around, having fun with that. So, like, here's, you know, A pentatonic. Okay, here I could do it up in the E position. Right? So I added a 13th. But do you see, like, how you can get the different sounds happening and move them around and different patterns? Some guys like to play a lot of patterns and go really patterny and learn all these licks and stuff like that. And, you know, it's good to do with your favorite musicians and people that you really admire and maybe sounds that you really like. But to memorize, like, a whole bunch of patterns and just play them rotely with, you know, all these cliches, like, to me isn't very inspiring. But some guys are really into that. They really like the patterns and, you know, the cliches and, you know, sounding like everybody else, right? Where I would like to encourage you, just as your teacher, to explore non-cliches and to really come up with unique sounds and try and create your own voice. Now, at first, it's going to take a while of maybe mimicking other musicians and learning other styles and kind of finding your way through that. But eventually you're going to hear sounds of kind of in different ways in your own unique perspective and your own unique approach. And I would tell you to really explore that and to really get into it and not be shy, because this is where all the really wonderful ideas from musicians who are composing come from. And, you know, as a radio host for 17 years, almost every single artist had a song that was pretty good on their album. Even the worst artists often had a catchy too. I'm not making that up. You know, like, it was like, what do I mean by a worst artist? Well, that's the thing. Like, is there such thing as a worst artist? Like, maybe just not your favorite artist, but maybe to another person that artist could be very important and very valuable, right? So that's the thing about music. It's very personal. It's very unique to each person, and what appeals to one person may not appeal to another, and same for age groups and all of that. So if you're thinking, oh, I'm 50, I can't be a musician, you know, no one's going to want to listen to me, I'm too old. Well, that's not really true. There's an audience in your age group that's, you know, interested in what you have to say and what you're doing, right? There's an age group for each kind of age group, and kind of people that are playing either modern sort of takes on music from that age group. You know, they're 50 and it's 2023 and they're approaching repertoire from 2023, or maybe they're 50 and they're really interested in jazz, so they're approaching music from 1940s or 30s, or maybe they're really fascinated with the 60s and 70s, or maybe they really love the 80s era, you know, with all the leather pants and, you know, satin blouses and things like that. Like, that's just their thing. They like that sound, right? So you know, it just really depends on the artist where they draw their inspiration from. And that's the beautiful thing. We've been getting all these incredible fusions of people going back to their roots, their cultural roots, or just cultural ideas, and really exploring and shaping and kind of messing with that and developing those sounds. It's really been a fascinating past couple of decades for that reason. So I encourage you to create your own sounds, and I'm going to leave it with that with you guys, and just hope that you can have a lot of fun with the guitar. Take care, everyone, and have a lot of fun on the guitar. Take care.